The day you've been waiting for has arrived. Your ex has reached out and said, "Hey, I've made a mistake. I want to talk about us. I want to get back together with you." And while you may be thinking that's the answer to all your prayers, I just want you to take a step back and really think about, is this the correct decision? Because you and your ex broke up because there were or still are fundamental problems in that relationship. There were fundamental reasons why they left. And fundamental problems require fundamental changes, and those kind of changes take a lot of time and a lot of therapy. So it may sound and look great that your ex, the dumper, now wants you back, but have they been away doing the work on themselves to actually make this relationship work? Because you, as the dumpee, you've had to do that. You've had to face your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and the loneliness and the rejection of being dumped from day one. You've had to go away and work on the multitude of problems and reasons they cited for dumping you so that you can level up, so that you can be better in the future. But have they done the same? Because if they haven't, then it may be a bad idea, and it's quite likely that a potential reconciliation will fail. With all that out of the way, welcome back to the Love Fix, guys. It's Nick. I do apologise that I've been away for quite a few weeks. As some of you know, my dog sadly passed away a few weeks back, and I've taken some time to mourn him and just to get some things in order. But I'm returning to normal now. Coaching sessions are open, so if you do need my personal attention, if you need a one-to-one coaching session, my details are in the description below. You can email me at thelovefix20@gmail.com and we can have a one-to-one. With all that said, let's get into it. Just like 90 to 95% of relationships are all bullshit and they will fail, reconciliations, 95% of them will fail also, because 95% of reconciliations are also crap, dog shit, not worth the paper they're written on. And the reason that is exactly the same reasons as why the relationship failed in the first place. There were problems that people were not solving. And a lot of those problems come from the facts that most people do not know how to love themselves correctly or validate themselves correctly. So if you've only loved yourself 20% most of your life, and someone comes along and gives you an extra 10%, they love you at 30%. That will feel like the best feeling in the world, because you've only ever loved yourself at such a low level at 20%. But there's still 70% left on the table. And the reason that 70% is left on the table is people are not doing the work on themselves. You've not done the work on yourself. Your ex, the dumper, has not done the work on themselves. So what people end up doing, they end up outsourcing validation and their love, their self-love, because they can't do it themselves. And this kind of happens with a lot of dumpers. They dump you because they get to a point where they can no longer see a future with you. The problems are so numerous and so intense that they do not see it working in whatever direction it may go. They do not see it working. So they make the decision to split up with you and go their own way. And for a few weeks, a few months even, and hey, even sometimes a few years, that it seemed like the right decision to make. It's euphoric, it's new, it's adventurous, they feel free. But that all eventually wears off, because the same problem exists, that they outsourced, most likely, love and validation to you, and you outsourced your love and validation to them. You employed each other to do that for each other. And that's a one-way ticket to failure. So once the initial excitement and the buzz and the euphoria is worn off, they start thinking about going back to where they last felt safe. And typically speaking, that's with you. Now, just to add a disclaimer in, this isn't always the case. But I'd say in about 60 to 70% of the cases, dumpers do reach out to the dumpy. Whether that goes into a reconciliation is a discussion for another time. But for this particular discussion today, I am assuming that it is heading towards a reconciliation, and this is what I want to talk about today, is most reconciliations are just never going to work. And you really need to think about, is your ex coming back the right thing for you? Because you have spent time licking your wounds, doing the therapy, even doing coaching sessions with me or another coach, and sorting out your thoughts and feelings, analysing what you got wrong, and chances are you did get some shit wrong, just like your ex, just like the dumper, they got some shit wrong. You're fixing that. Typically speaking, most dumpers, 80% of dumpers, will take responsibility, will do what they have to fix their shit because they've got something to gain, they've got something to get back. And whilst that's maybe the wrong reasons to fix yourself, nonetheless, you are on the journey to fixing yourself. But I would say 9 times out of 10, even 9.5 times out of 10, the dumper does not see anything wrong in what they did. And trust me when I say most dumpers contributed to the breakup. Unless you cheated or abused, today's not scripted, I'm just freestyling it today. Unless you abuse them or you're a narcissist, and I wish you well with that, you should go and get help for that. They had a part to play. That means they've got shit to fix. That means they have to take responsibility. And that also means you've got a responsibility to yourself to say, is this the right decision for me? Is this the right path? Because there were things that I hated about that person. The things that they did that drove me crazy. And I really want you to think right now, take a step back and just maybe even write this down. Everything they did to piss you off, every nasty thing they said, every bad habit they had or have, every time they didn't listen to you, they didn't acknowledge how you felt about certain things. They just listened to respond, not listen to understand. Really think about that. Now, if it's only been a few weeks or a few months, I highly doubt that they've gone away and made the changes, because guys, it takes a long time to make these fundamental changes about yourself. It takes a lot of therapy. It takes a lot of self-reflection. And, why do you get anxious? Why are you avoidant? Why do certain things trigger you? And hey guys, look, I have to work on certain things. Certain things still trigger me, and I'm still working on that. I'm still putting the processes in place. But I think the most important thing is to be aware of that, and also hold yourself accountable to say, hey, look, I was wrong there. I fucked up. And this is why I get triggered, but it's my problem. I'll deal with it. I may need a hug every now and then, and I may need you to support me. I may need you to cheer me from the sidelines, but I will fix it. And this is what you need to hear from your ex, is that they will fix their shits. Because if they are planting all of the responsibility directly on your shoulders, do not take that person back. Unless you fundamentally fucked up, unless you are excessively possessive and excessive in your behaviors and you're jealous and that kind of thing, and they got a good justification. But in my experience, most breakups, there's responsibility on both sides. There are exceptions to the rule, so you need to really be careful here. And so if you do know for 100% certain that you caused 80-90% of all the issues, then yeah, this is most of this is on you. But then they've still got 10% to take care of. So I guess what I'm saying is that it may feel euphoric. It may be the best feeling in the world when you get that text message or that phone call and they say, hey, I miss you, I love you, and I still want to be with you, I want to make this work. And that's great. But unless you both have done the work and you're responsible for your shit, they are responsible for their shit. And guys, everyone, and I mean everyone, is responsible for how they feel. Everyone is responsible for how they act on their emotions and on their triggers. Everyone is responsible for that. It is not your job to fix your ex. It is not your job to make them happy. You can make them happier. You can enhance their happiness. But if you are making up 70% of their happiness and they're making up 70% of your happiness, that is because you never learn how to validate yourself and you never learn how to love yourself. You have to get to a point where you can validate and love yourself 100%. And they come along, they're the cherry on the cake, or the icing, or whatever your favourite part of a cake is. They're meant to be the best part of that cake. But you have to put the work in. So before you waste too much time listening to my videos about how to get your ex back and why your ex dumped you, as I've said so many times in most videos, and not most videos, but a lot of videos, to quote Dr. Robert Glover, what if this was a gift? What if this is giving you the opportunity to really step back and embrace being single and going on a different path, going on different adventures? Now, guys, this kind of took me a long time to realize myself, and the path that my ex put me on 2 years ago has been, it's been fun, it's been sad, it's been up, it's been down, it's been light, it's been dark. But I wouldn't go and change anything because it's put me on a path that took me down some interesting roads. I've met some great people and I'm doing some really, really cool stuff at the moment. And hey, it's led me to a new partner who I'm excited to build with now and to see where that can go. And it's just opened up so many doors for me. So before thinking too much about getting your ex back, before thinking that is the only thing that's on your mind right now, and I understand why that's on your mind, it's a totally normal response. Step back, be curious about it, be objective, observe, and ask yourself, is this not the best decision right now? Maybe we wasn't right for each other. Maybe I did outsource all my love and validation. Maybe, maybe you're thinking, I don't like their anxiousness. I don't like their avoidance. I don't like their sociopathic, narcissistic behavioral traits. Maybe you don't have anything in common. Maybe you just latched on to the best of a bad bunch because you wasn't doing so well in other parts of your life. So you're latching onto that person to fill in the gap. And that's the fundamental problem with relationships these days, and that's the fundamental problem with reconciliations. Guys, you must do the work, and to do the work, you must be on your own for a time. Embracing being single is not a bad thing. Now, a lot of people have come to me recently and said, oh, you're anti-relationship. I'm not anti-relationship. I do believe true love is out there, but I also believe that 90% of all relationships are dog shit. I also believe most people don't know what true love is because love after a while is no longer a feeling, it becomes a commitment. And this is where people fully mess up. So I do believe there are good relationships out there. I do believe that. And I want you to have good relationships. That's what my channel is about now. It's not so much about getting your ex back. It's about how do I level up to have good, or let's say, brilliant, fantastic relationships. And it takes a lot of work. There's a lot of ups and downs. You've got to have some brutal, honest communication. So, if your ex has reached out to you, if they do want to get back with you, you need to keep yourself accountable, but you also need to ask them, okay, so what have you done to change X, Y, and Z? What's going to be different? How are you going to adapt to this particular situation? Because I'm doing X, Y, and Z. This is what I'm prepared to do. What are you prepared to do? And if they can't meet your expectations, if they can't respect your boundaries, then you need to leave and move on to better, bigger and better things. And that's a crying shame, but it's also a gift. It will put you on to adventures you never thought possible. And that, my friends, is why breakups can be beautiful if you let them be. That's all for today. Take care. Keep your chin up. You've got this. I believe in you. And I will see you on the other side.